Now, some of you probably thinking right now, who in the hell is this soul needle tooth, golden caramel looking motherfucker plastered onto your screen, whatever device? You know how the human race, we always like to say how there's, yeah, of course, there's always a future. There's more pages to turn a book. We are still on the horizon. Hey, you never know. You might just have to keep on going to get to a certain point to where, okay, now he's talking. It's time, brethren. That fateful day has just reeled upon us. Because I do know we do have ladies that pop in here, so just saying a little bit hello to y'all. But let's not stray away from what we actually came here to do. Now I know. Well, I will say about a little, of course, another synopsis, if I can say that, of course. When it comes to especially modern day professional wrestling, the way it gives up, whether that's mainly, of course, WWE, and I guess sometimes it's AEW, even though I mean my content is probably going to be marginally around, centered around whether it's professional wrestling or WWE, obviously, but yeah, sometimes AEW. But this series is specifically, which will evolve, of course, over time, that is called The Black Screen, which you can go to a playlist that I have right now. And it's because in professional wrestling, or of course when it comes to it's a WWE mainly or AEW, that if they give the lowest effort as humanly creatively possible when it comes to their products, then they get a black screen. And of course, simply what that is well, what I just said. If it's if they don't give a fuck, then I don't give a fuck. Hence, the black screen is pretty much the best way and all I can sum it up to. Because I do understand that I went a little bit back and forth with a gentleman that, of course, had a little issue with, even though I like pretty clearly explained why I couldn't show any footage or couldn't risk the fact that, of course, being on YouTube, because they scrubbed it off of YouTube and Twitter, being the most popular platforms that if I even show, wouldn't want to risk. So what even risk in general, but if I show any footage of and from the WrestleMania roast, they didn't intend for that. So they could say that also, even aside from the controversy that the IWC will pay them from. But they can say that because originally it was never intended to be aired, so that's their still even more so that's their extreme content, so they can immediately flag you and pull you down from that. But that's all I got to say on that. I pretty much, like I said, I even explained it when I talked to it at the time about it. So like I said, and I pretty much said up until all this point as well too. If you got an issue with that, then you have a remote. And YouTube is just like we had back in the day. You got a remote, and there's plenty of other channels that you can search up right now. That's probably, that's talking about the same topic as me. So yeah, of course, what we actually came here to do, yet again, why don't we get to that? So, of course, being that this is very, well, if I will do say that, of course, I do have a personal life to maintain, so of course there's that. Even though I'm a growing, I would say, yeah, as you can call it, whether it's entertainer or content creator. But of course, let's get back to it. But yeah, I see that this might have, the kids today might even so labeled me or label this, whether seeing that when it comes to John Cena and the heel turn, that all this started, that this how controversial and a very big topic that this is, that I might, of course, might be considered, of course, I might immediately be called, oh, this is an L take, or I have no idea what I'm talking about professional wrestling. even though I've been watching for over 30 years, how I'm a mark or I've never been in the ring, and all the usual shit. I said, which is pretty ironic too. I guess when talking about when Triple H said called out veterans, and then for whether it came to kayfabe, even though he's doing a TV show behind the scenes documentary about exposing kayfabe further, or whether you talk about you get wrestling fans today, quote unquote, a big hyphen on that, wrestling fans today, or we refer to them as the IWC. They like to say, of course, like I said, whether calling you a mark, and then calling calling you a mark, or you have no idea about professional wrestling just because you don't like the shit that they like, and I said I kind of understand some sentiment to that too, because it's their generation today, and I did feel some type of way too. Of course, people having their varying opinions too. That when it comes to my generation, I do have, because like I said, not everybody liked the ruthless aggression era, not everybody liked the attitude era. So I mean, there can be had when it comes to the difference of opinions, and because people are not going to automatically click the same way. So I get that, but there's a reason why universally, when it comes to the state of professional wrestling, why people look at it in a certain context. And kind of bullied around the bush as much as I can, but John Cena's heel turn. And what I really want to get into why that title has, why I say that and I bring forth that title. I feel like the best, if we could say, because like how you say, like when it comes to Roman Reigns, of course, and how of course how they like to have forcibly fed about of course for amount of years how Vince or now WWE was so high. Of course, he was the next golden boy. He was the next golden the next golden poster boy for the WWE and Vince after John Cena, and clearly. But went from pretty much that perfect moniker of a hated hero to beloved villain. When of course he's been dominated with the the whole bloodline saga that started off that started off in late 2020, the 2020s, and then that pretty much has ruled the early 2020s so far. And that has really kicked off in 2021, really, and then it's became what it's known for today, and how Roman is just this, how probably like because I did see that before too, of how many that's probably clearly only like him. Of course, I don't know whether they may be bandwagon or not. You see the same case for a team like a Golden State, where Golden State was a D, C tier team probably years ago, and as soon as Curry, the Splash Brothers, as soon as they had a certain level, gotten a very worldwide type of talent with Stephen Curry, now all of a sudden people are such fans of Golden State, and and then now how Roman Reigns is such this beloved villain, to where we look at him now, and I like him. I like the head of the table, the tribal chief character of Roman Reigns, and I like that for the latter part. Yeah, of course, I've been absolutely loving his run, for sure. And if I can scurry a little bit, because I do intend to talk more about Cody, but if I can scurry a little bit, I feel like whether you hate it or not, too. I guess, of course, I say regardless, because people, I know, because that's the only reason what I'm about to get into, but of course Cody and his terrible title reign, but of course I feel like people, especially the newer fans today, are not, the IWC people are not going to really probably try to talk about Hogan, because of the fact when it comes to his personal life, he's one of those individuals that personal life really crosses over, to really try to negate the fact that when it comes to how much impact he had on professional wrestling. But I don't think I need to scurry Cody in here. Well, because but I guess as far as I say that he's probably like, that's the worst example. And you could also say, Roman Reigns being the worst example of a baby face. But I mean, I feel like Hulk Hogan was yeah, of course. I feel like that's probably like pretty much a sort amount of people can agree with that. Was the perfect, pretty much the perfect baby face. Of course, the whole red-blooded American. How such an inspiration to children, and what was the whole character about? Running with red, yellow, and stripe. Singing how American song, so American that can flesh well with the United States, and how much just how tremendous that character was, and how much what that turned Hogan into a cultural icon thereafter. And I mean, you could say the same sentiment to Cena too, even though he was kids loved him. He did a lot of course the Make a Wish foundations, and being like, of course, I said transition from a like a kind of like a hip hop character that he had at the time to like now to where it's like, yeah, basically the Superman straight ripped out of the comics, a Superman, if you will, of of the WWE. And yeah, I mean, there's like I said, there's a reason why how Hulk Hogan even to this day is such a household name, is because people loved real probably in the same sense of Cena, where but not only kids, but just a lot of demographic. It was like pretty much everybody that really liked Hulk Hogan. So when you got the turn that came in '96, when he turned out to be the third man, the final man, with the Outsiders, that of course later became known as the NWO. I mean, because like I said, a lot of kids, a lot of people, probably like even myself during a certain time, even though I wasn't that big on, even though I liked heroes, but wasn't that big on in general. Of course, I was really more so a villain, but yeah, like I said, even at one sort of time that even looked up to Hogan, but yeah, you get to '96, and of course the whole monumental heel turn. Which, yeah, well, I mean, will also because when it comes to today, and how they'll probably, just because of how WWE will say that too, just because of the fact it was in WCW also. So I kind of understand that. Well, what they called it like the biggest heel turn in WWE history, and also because of the fact that people was just overall try to say and try to negate the fact that, and try to put over more so than Hogan that, although how much they'll gaslight and lie to try to say like how the Cena heel turn, which was like I said, I pretty much said up to at that moment, which I said, of course, I mean, it's a pretty incredible moment. It was good for what it was, which turned out to, which is really doing nothing in long term because there was no plan. But yeah, I mean, for a moment as it is a great moment, and it probably will go down as one of the most, of course, but biggest heel turn ever. Well, we all know who that is. So, like I said, when you got the Hogan heel turn in '96, like I said, my apologies too, because of course I know whether it's breathing hard a little bit. Because like I said, I don't. Like I said, even before, I usually don't really talk like this, but especially like trying to ramble on. But yeah, like because a lot of kids looked up to Hogan, and so when you had the heel turn, a lot of people, not just kids, that looked up to Hogan. So of course, when you had pretty much like it's like Captain America, or like I said, like a superhero turning, it was like Hogan ripping, the red, white, and blue, the flag, into billions of pieces, and turning on the fans, and the fans that grew up with him and really made him into who he is. And when you go back to that promo too, it's just so good, and it really is raw, and it's entertaining as hell, and it's just like it also meshes well because being that Hogan also really ushered into a new era, and how it's just professional, like how he just really just impacted and put professional wrestling on the marquee to where it was at this point and to where it is today. Also had a major part in professional wrestling being on worldwide. But a lot of people, especially newer fans today, is going to ignore that just because of his personal life, which I also will agree to. It's pretty fucked up. But again, like I said, people like to be hypocrites. But still, yeah, like, Hogan being revolutionary as he is, like I said, not only that, of course, being at the revolution that he started in the 80s, of course, like I said, being at the whole another boom that he just started was the NWO, because that also gave motivation, competition to WWE that led them to go into the Attitude Era. And what we got with Austin, Rock, Taker, DX, a lot of good shit, and made the company WWE. Of course, like I said, we all know the story. WWE beat WCW, the yada yada and whatever. Austin being and Rock, two some of the biggest stars ever, and the rest is history. So when you get to Cena, and yeah, I said, I know how people feel about it, and especially how I feel about him. I may have a different look today because I do like his acting career. It got better, obviously, but growing up, especially as a teenager, did not like Cena. I definitely enjoyed the fact when it came to him and Rock's WrestleMania match at 28 when Rock went over, and just how happy and jumpy I was being that and a much more older fan, because like I said, I grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era and kind of the Attitude Era, and I just hated everything that Cena stood for at that time as a character. Because, like I said, it was just how, like I said, already worse than the fact of how corporate and just how, even at the time, like I said, after Benoit's death and, WWE going PG, family friendly, and being really watered down to where, from very different from the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression era, and you get to where Cena's generation. And it's really just, which you could probably, like I said, you have people like it, y'all have the Peacock, y'all have the WWE Network, and you can go. Whoever still has a WWE Network too, F you too, because y'all got it good right now. I did hear something like that it might be ended, but even in other countries, but whatever. But you can go back and see just how, especially too. Because like I said, I just also said too, I just watched recently how good, even if you, how good, I wanted to compare, I did make a post about WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre, just how the crowd was such into that match, and, you could really feel it and hear it. And just like how like what I'm about to say right now, compared to how just people did not like Cena. I mean, of course he had his fans, but other than kids and possibly women, that nobody liked. No real men, and nobody really liked Cena like that. He was, like I said, I also think I said, but I mean, I'm kind of new, but Cena was a major part and really satirizing and really watering down the WWE product to where you see it today, and how fake and corporate and how it is, and just how it's just not overall into it. And so I feel like we're now to where we get this turn, and he was even gonna come. I'm about to get into also now. Not gonna say it right now, but so where we get today, and you have it to where, of course, where Elimination Chamber got The Rock and Travis Scott and everything that comes out, and of course the ending of that, where of course being that Cody is the quarterback of this generation, and of how for years we wanted Cena to turn heel, and then we get it. I didn't think they were going to do it, but seeing that also too, which makes me believe more so too, that now I'm about to go into, is that Cena always wanted to turn heel, and he always wanted to, the potentiality that we could have gotten in such a, such a time period. But where back into 2012, after he lost to The Rock at WrestleMania, I think, yeah, close to 2 decades ago now, and yeah, wanted to turn heel at that moment. But I feel like, of course, I mean, we also hear the story of how Vince and WWE didn't want to do that because, of course, money and such and such. And we get to where now, to where, yeah, he's pretty much at the tail end of his career. I mean, we're past the point of his the Super Cena era, pretty much, and we get to where now, like I said, he finally turned heel. We finally get the John Cena heel turn, and that's the question that I have to ask. What have they done with it? Like, honestly, what have they done with the John Cena heel turn? And that's why I have the title the way it is. Nothing. It's pretty ironic too, because they also said, which is also kind of like is Triple H also another way telling that, yeah, this is a part of storyline and y'all don't get shit. And, kind of also sadly have the IWC, the way they play into it and how they're playing into it, how just which they can get away with absolutely doing jack shit. And I get that could be a part of a character. Oh yeah, he's not now about not giving the fans what they want, because I was kind of like always with the John Cena character in of professional wrestling. But again, you still have to like, and not to also mention the fact of how much they throw kayfabe in our face. But yet again, like I said, I can go back into where, with the Hogan heel turn, even though he was like, because they even talk about it too, how Hogan was still on that red and yellow, that Hulkamania type of shit, even though he had like essentially a new character, pretty much. I get it, yeah. Like, not giving the fans what they want, John Cena doing what he wants to do. Hey, I would even, like, no new music, no new character. Like, yeah, as far as physically goes, aesthetically, okay. It just plays into it of Cena now, the new character of now not giving a fuck. And not, saying fuck the fans, fuck the kids, essentially. And yeah, like I said, I feel like they, as far as like, that's pretty much, like I said also too, where it's just like, it's pretty much behind the scenes where it's Triple H putting another middle finger, like he's always been. Like I said, it's not that it's the first time too, because like I said, of course, the whole infamous, where he first said it with, like I said, with the WWE Network and that whole, when Punk and Bryan, when guys like Punk and Bryan, the smaller guy, was becoming much more of a thing. And of course, like I said, the whole infamous "Me and My Friend Mark" promo. Like I said, he was not always like this. He was always like this, Triple H, for that matter. And how, like I said, if you don't kiss my ass, then pretty much after I feel like I said, because we will be talking about Triple H much more, and I do have my mind made up, because he clearly did that when they came to him saying that fuck off being a critic and be a fan. Yeah, he pretty much told us that, the Tony Khan type of rhetoric. Only it's that's his version. That's his version. I feel like John Cena, them fucking up the John Cena, him, whether it's him or Rock or whoever, everybody involved, because they're all involved. I pretty much said that. I don't blame anybody individually. The Rock, Triple H, and TKO, as far as they all have a part to play, all being their fault. Absolutely. But I feel like, this is his Tony Khan. This is his Tony Khan's sicko for the sickos, and him saying that pretty much, that's Triple H's Tony Khan moment. Fuck off being a critic. And yep, it was pretty much what Tony Khan with his his product AEW being for the sickos. And now that I look at it, talking about it right now, that's for sure. That's pretty much Triple H's Tony Khan moment of when he said, when he was during WrestleMania weekend. Pretty much. And we will be going back to this. and we will be going back to Triple H. But as I mentioned, I know people are not going to be a fan of this. Of course, we all, being at them in particular, of course, I mean, unless you kiss ass and bend over, then you're not going to really get, I guess when it comes to, in this case, when it comes to being a wrestling content creator, you're going to get the shit that you get. People are not going to like it. You're going to get called this and that. But still, to the people who still, because I think I said it in my WrestleMania Triple H when I talked about that, how can you defend this? I want to talk to, that's who I'm talking to about right now. Fuck the trolls. Of course, the WWE groupies. I'm talking to y'all right now. How can, yet again, what I said in that Triple H WrestleMania video, how can you defend this? How? Where's the defense? I get it. It could have played into a character, but we're talking past that now. We're like in the middle. We're in the middle. Like, we're touching, not really there yet, but we're touching the middle, near the end, the climax. This is supposed to be the big picture. And so far, just like WrestleMania was an absolute shit show, Triple H has done none of that. And this heel turn, because like I said, I do plan to make a bigger, because like I guess you could call it a video essay. Well, we plan to revisit this, but as far as that, I said for sure, when Triple H said what he said, especially to people who criticize this product, it's just pretty much that, whether it comes to WWE or the modern company mindset of where, they want the community, they want their consumers, they want the fan base to be a bunch of hyenas. And I feel like, I'm disappointed. I can't believe more people aren't really excited about that, especially when that came out, and how he was able to bold, because how bold he's able to say that, because he's still going to have the D-Riders, the WWE groupies, still on his triple nose meat sickle, which is why he can get away with saying that. And I'm pretty disappointed. It's really a waste of time, and just like, wow, it's just how much of they fumbled. Yeah, Triple H, not only WWE, but Triple H really fucking fumbled. And who all involved? The Rock, TKO, Triple H involved. Fucking fumbled. This John Cena heel turn. And I mean, Cena is probably doing the best that he can, especially being that, he's got a very different career now. Pretty sure, just like The Rock and Batista. But pretty sure he's done. I feel like he the dystropian that he has, I still feel like, because not that I also want to put some of the blame on him too, because I feel like, being that, of course, he's a Hogan too, so he was the Hogan of his generation. The type of stroke that he has, that I would, that he probably could have said something, he probably could have relayed on Triple H, or, the creative, take something like that to do with it. But like I said, John, and I'm not really mad at that. John has his mind elsewhere, so, but also, like I said, which I'm kind of also disappointed in him, because, like I said, we could have got something much more. We deserved much more. And like I said, I did get it. I do get it. That could have also played into a character where, like, fuck you mean? I'm John Cena. I'm tired of giving you ungrateful motherfuckers what you want. And I feel like they could have also played into that character a little more. But no, it's just that, they really, I feel like, which I said, which is also another middle finger from Triple H to us, because of the fact of how we shit on his product. And I hope he gets more frustrated and more angry, to the point to where he gets the fuck out of the creative booth. Because the shit that he served us the shit can of a meal that he served us at WrestleMania, and with this John Cena heel turn, it's unacceptable. The prices being up the ass, how they are. You even had I saw the clip with Randy Orton. Fucking ridiculous. About he was even astonished, whether it was a meme or not. Because Randy, yeah, he's pretty fucking real. He's pretty honest. And yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I'm at a point now to where, like I said, being that I'm still a hardcore fan, I'm pretty much the only reason why I'm even in this space. Still an avid watcher. Not even that. Is when it comes to social media. It's because of the fact that of having no choice, because I want professional wrestling to be better. This isn't haterade. This isn't just for a click or a view. This is bigger than that. But like I said, you got motherfuckers that just, of course, they want you to just sickle under. But I pretty much said all I wanted on that, because I don't want to go any further. But there can be another video on that. And being that I'll probably pretty much long this video is already. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's unacceptable how people are willing to accept this type of mediocrity. And I'm to a point to where, yeah, I do understand why. Now I do understand having a YouTube channel, being a content creator, talking about this, which is my passion about professional wrestling, and having so much love and passion for it. I understand why other people get mad at what they talk about, what they do. Because not only do you get shit from the industry itself, but like you also get people that just want you to fall in the line. And they want you to support this garbage, this mediocrity, because it's their era. And you have to like it. It's fucking laughable. It's fucking laughable. It really, really is. And like I said, but just utterly disappointed of how the much potential that this had. It's just all about just WWE with the John Cena. That's what it is. What I just said too. It's just another product to sell. It's not really about giving when it comes to just delivering a tremendous product. It's not about that, and not giving back. Just more so just wanting to have the fans be happy. No, it's just about selling the product. It's pretty much what it is, and that's been the goal. Especially since day one of TKO buying WWE. That's it. And that's where it starts and stops with TKO and WWE. And I'm sick of it. And yeah, I won't be doing. I'll probably be, of course, around, and I'll definitely talk about it. But I won't be doing. Well, yeah, I'll probably be. It depends what happens, but for sure, I definitely won't be I'll probably be back around when it comes to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, because I won't be talking about Backlash, because I'm just disgusted. It's unacceptable, and I'm just fucking fed up. Whether it comes to all around the industry itself, the fans, the toxic ass fans, the wrestlers, I'm just fed up, and I've had enough.